the the 3-2-1 method. You can use it. It's a really powerful tool, right? So I just got out the shower and I took a cold shower. I've been taking cold showers for about 10 years. And and it every time, so it's been like 10 years that I've since I started taking cold showers, and still today, before I turn on the water, there's a part of me that's like, fuck's sake. You know? So even even after so long, because cold water is just inherently uncomfortable, and you're showering yourself with this cold water, it's uncomfortable. And so even after 10 years, you would think like, oh, well, you're like used to it. Yeah, you do get used to it. At the same time, there's still that moment of like dread before. So what I use is something I call the 3-2-1 method. And I just, before I turn on the water, I stand in there. And then at one point, I just go 3-2-1. And, uh, and it works really well, because otherwise what happens is I stand there and I would be like, all right, now. And then my brain would produce a thought and be like, oh, not quite now, not quite now. And then, yeah, so it would do its thing, because the brain will produce fearful thoughts, and then try and, I don't know, get in the way, basically. So at some point, instead of making the decision and saying I'm doing it now, I say 3-2-1, because if I say I'm doing it now, then my brain can intervene and be like, oh no. So I've already pre-committed to the fact that the 3-2-1 timer leads to that. And it's also psychologically, it's like, it sort of like prepares the mind, because you're counting down. And you can use it for other things as well. So if there are other things that could be good to do, safe, and but regardless, still are things that you might be a bit afraid of, you can use the 3-2-1 method. Like, for example, if there's someone that you're like, oh, I want to go talk to that person, you might be a bit afraid of that, because there's always the chance of rejection. At the same time, it's safe. You're not gonna die. So you can be like, oh, okay, fuck it, 3-2-1, and then as soon as you get to one, you go, because you don't give your brain the opportunity to talk you out of it. It's the waiting. The longer you wait, the more you give your brain the chance to talk you out of the situation. So often, like, for example, yeah, if someone is like in a situation where they're like, okay, so I went to I was in France a while ago, and there's this thing called acrobranche, and acrobranche is basically, you're in the trees and you climb trees, and you have like a harness and stuff, and there are different obstacles you go through. And I saw this girl who was on a platform, and it was a challenging obstacle, a bit of a scary one, and she was there for ages. And yeah, basically, the mentality is like, oh, I'll prepare myself to do it. But when you're in that situation, you're not preparing yourself to do it. You're talking yourself out of it. The longer you wait, the more scared you get, because the brain is already thinking of that as a potentially dangerous thing. So the longer you give it, the more your brain's going to feed you fearful thoughts. So what you want to do is actually not give it as little time as possible to produce those fearful thoughts, and just be like, 3-2-1, okay, and then just go. And so, yeah, so that's something that you can use for. There's something that is safe, right? That's important to emphasize. You know that it's safe, and it's something that you would like to do, but sometimes you're like, ah, fuck, I hesitate and stuff. It's a way of like neutralizing or dissolving that hesitation. You leave no room for hesitation. You just say 3-2-1.